Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, in this video we will discuss more about a function. That is, we will discuss a topic called as function overloading. Then we'll see what is recursion and what are default arguments. Before going to a function overloading, first we will discuss a small topic called as default argument. Now what are default argument? Default argument means what? When the values of arguments are already initialized while specifying while defining the function, then we called it as what? Default argument. For an example in this case, see, while declaring the function itself, I have initialized the values of argument also. That is, I have three arguments here, a, b, c. My a ka value is not initialized, but my b is 0 and c is 6. So I have initialized the values also, and these values then I call them as what? Default argument. So the definition says, when programmer initialize the values while specifying arguments, then it is said that function takes default argument. Now if you see this program, I am calling a function add for how many times? Yes, for 3 times. 1, 2 and 3. Now when I called add for the first time, I passed only one argument, that is 3. When I called add for the second time, I passed two arguments, 3 and 5. And when I called add for third time, I passed all my 3 arguments. So how exactly it will get called? When I called add first time, it will jump onto here, and what will happen? It will count a plus b plus c. Now here a ka value is 3, so it will be 3. But b and c ka value, they haven't specified here. So what will happen? B and c ka value, they will take as what? Default values. So at this attempt, it is going to be a 3 is my a is 3 plus b ka value and c ka value is not initialized. So it will take them as a default values. So my b is 0 and my c is 6. So 6 plus 3, 9. Then I called add for the second time. What will happen here? I have passed the value of 3 and 5. Means what? Value of a and b is given, but value of c is not given. So if the value of c is not given, then again it will take a default value of c, that is 6. So it will be 3 plus 5 plus 6. So it is going to be what? 6 plus 5 is 11 plus 3, 14. Again, when I will call add for third time, now all my 3 values are given. So in this case, it won't take the default values, and my answer is going to be what? 1 plus 2 plus 3. So it is going to be a 6. So whenever the values of arguments are not passed or not specified, at that time we take what? Default arguments, or that time we consider what? Default values. So that is basically a use of what? Default arguments. Now the next topic is called as function overloading. Now when the function is called a overloaded function, when function is declared more than one times in a program but with the same name and different number of parameters, at that time we call that function as what? Overloaded function. For an example, suppose in a program I have a function called as area, and if that area is declared more than once, then I will call that function as what? Overloaded function. So basically, when I call my function as overloaded function, when I declared a function more than once in a program with same name but with the different number of parameters, then I call that function as what? Overloaded function. So the definition of function overloading is, function is said to be overloaded when it is declared more than once in a program with same name but with the different number of parameters. So in that case, how the compiler invokes the correct function? In that case, compiler matches the parameter. In that case, compiler matches the parameter, and then the correct function gets invoked. For an example, see here, this is the program. In this program, I am calculating the area of circle also, and I am calculating the area of rectangle also. Now I have declared both the functions with the same name, that is area. But if you'll see here, in both the places my parameters are different. In the first phase, I have declared area only with the one parameter, and in the second case I have declared area with how many parameters? 2 parameters. Now see this program, I declared 3 variables r, l and b. I am telling user to enter the l and b, and then I am calling a function area, and this function ka value will get collected inside the area rect. So here I am calculating the area of rectangle. Then again I am calculating the area of circle. I am telling user to enter the value of radius, and that value I have collected in variable r. Again I am calling the area function, and again area ka value I am calculating area circle. Now when this function call is made, compiler will search for a function whose name is area, but compiler will find out there are two functions whose name is area. So in that case, compiler will compiler will match the parameter. Here compiler will see this function is called with two parameters. So here compiler will jump onto a function's body and will check a parameter. This function is only with the one parameter, so this function will not get invoked. Again compiler will jump onto a second area. Now this function is with two parameter, so this function will get invoked. The calculation part will get done, and the area 2 ka value will get collected inside the variable area rect. Again when compiler will jump onto this function, again when compiler will call this function, compiler will start searching for a function whose name is area with the one parameter, and compiler will replace this function call with this particular function body. Again the calculation part will get done, and your area 1 ka value will get collected inside the variable area circle. Recursion, when function calls itself within its body, then we called it as recursion. Now recursion can be also called as circular definition or circular function. Now why circular function? Because I will be doing some task repeatedly inside the recursion. That's why I called it as what? Circular definition or circular function. Now for an example, suppose if I want to calculate factorial of some number, then what we do? We perform multiplication for repeated amount of time. Say for an example, if I am calculating factorial of 5, then what I do is I calculate factorial of 5 in the way like 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, or 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So what I do basically, I perform multiplication repeatedly. So whenever we do something repeatedly, okay, then that thing can come inside what? Recursion. Because recursion means what? We perform some task again and again, and then we called it as what? Recursion. But when it is recursion, when your function calls itself within its body, I mean your function will be calling a function inside its body only, then I called it as what? Recursion. See, you will understand the concept more clearly with the help of example. So in this program, what we have done is we have calculated a factorial of number using the concept called as recursion. So let us have a look onto the program. Now in this program, this is called as what? Function prototype. Int factorial int n. Yesterday we studied what is function prototype. Function prototype means what? We declare a function before using it. So this is the declaration of the function, and I called it as what? Prototype. Then this is my main function. In main function we have taken two variables. They are n and f. Now n is the number of which factorial is to be calculated, and in the f what we do? We collect the answer. So now see, int n f, enter the number and n. So the number of which factorial you are calculating, that number will get stored inside the variable n. F is equal to factorial n. Now this particular thing is called as what? Function call. So it means what? I am calling a function here. So when the function call occurs, what compiler does? Compiler jumps inside the function body. So after this, compiler will jump inside the function's body. Now see, this is the function body. Now here what I have done is int factorial int n. Now here this int n is called as what? Yes, formal parameter, and there it was, I mean in the main function the parameter is there, we called it as what? Actual parameter. Then the value of your actual parameter will get copied onto a formal parameter. Now suppose if my n ka value is 5, so it means what? I am calculating factorial of 5. Now what will happen here? Inside the function I declared one more variable, that is fact, whose initial value is 1. Now if n is equal to 1, then it means I will be returning 1. It means what? If suppose the user enters 1 from the keyboard, it means what? User wants to calculate the factorial of 1, and factorial of 1 is going to be what? 1. So it means what? If n is equal to 1, then you will return 1, else you will go inside the next part. Now in the next part what they have written, fact is equal to factorial n minus 1 into n. Now see here, you can see this particular thing is nothing but what? Again a function call. So it means what? You are calling a factorial function again inside the factorial function. So I will be calling it as what? Recursion. Now what you are doing here, fact is equal to factorial n minus 1 into n. Now how many times this function will get called? Initially what will happen? Factorial, I'm writing here step 1. What will happen here? Factorial n minus 1 into n. So it is going to be what? Factorial n minus 1 is 5 minus 1 into 5. So it is going to be what? 4 into 5. Now 4 into 5 is going to be what? 20. And this factorial n minus 1 will get called till you get the n ka value as what? 1. So initially, now what I got? Factorial n minus 1 is what? 4. So it is not 1. So one more time it will call the same function again. Now in the next iteration what will happen? You will get a answer like factorial n minus 1 into n again. Now at this iteration it is going to be 4 minus 1 into 4 into 5. Now your 4 minus 1 is what? 3. So this will be 3 into 4 into 5. So your factorial n minus 1 ka value has become what? 3. Again I will be calling the same function. Till what time I will be calling the same function? Till I get factorial n minus 1 ka value as what? 1. So again one more time you will be calling the same function. So again in the next iteration it will be 3 minus 1 into 3 into 4 into 5. So it is going to be 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So at this iteration your factorial n minus 1 ka value has become what? 2. By what time we have to call the function? Till I get n is equal to 1. So again one more time the same function will get called, and at this iteration it will be 2 minus 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. Now see here 2 minus 1 is going to be what? 1. So it will be 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. At this iteration you got factorial n minus 1 ka value as what? 1. So when it will be 1, it will return what? 1 and it will stop. So your final answer going to be what? 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So it is nothing but what? 120, and then you will return the factorial to the main function. So your factorial n minus 1 function got called inside the factorial n function for repeated amount of time. Hence I called it as what? Circular function or recursive function. So this is the concept of what? Recursion. What is recursion? When function calls itself within its body, then I called it as what? Recursion. So this was the function factorial n, and this function called factorial n repeatedly inside itself, since I called it as what? Recursion. So I hope you have understood the concept of recursion. Now in the next video we will study a next topic, that is pointer. Once we will study a pointer, then we will study what is called by reference. Thanks for watching this video. For the latest video please subscribe the channel Ekeeda.